Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. You might notice in the corner of the screen, we still have, listen, I'm not one to throw out champagne, just perfectly usable champagne. So we're carrying it over to today. It's still bubbly and everything. And so I wanted to share it with my friend Matt Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, who, you know, he's always like, I'm driving, I can't. So I was like, Uber here so that you can share this with me, because I'm not going to let champagne go to waste. So cheers.
Cheers to victory.
To victory. So in unpacking this, some may call it a historic win, right? Mm-hmm. We got the Electoral College landslide. We got the popular vote. We got the House. We got the Senate. One who is capable of critically thinking might say, like, where did we go wrong? If you're on the left, right? Like, where did we go wrong? What did we miss? Maybe it was like our policies. Maybe it was the way that we labeled half the country racist and Nazis and maybe it was because we're elitist who don't give a crap about the working class. Like, maybe it was us. And you'll be shocked to hear, Matt, that was not the case at all.
No.
Yeah. No, I know.
No.
I know.
They have the Avengers. And everything they say is true.
Right. Yeah. No, as it turns out. So let's go through some of the different spins on why they actually lost. Because most of the time it's like, it's not us, it's you actually.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not me, it's you.
Yeah. I just want to hold on a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tastes like victory. Carry on.
You know what it tastes like to me? Liberal tears. Speaking of which, hold on. This is the taste of Jimmy Kimmel's tears from after the election. Watch.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go.
Oh gosh.
For healthcare.
Oh
for
no.
Climate.
Oh no.
For science.
Oh no.
For journalism.
Oh no.
For justice, for free speech.
I don't know what a woman is,
for poor
but
people, for the middle class, for seniors who rely on Social Security, for our allies in Ukraine.
Oh gosh, there we go.
For NATO.
Oh, for NATO. Oh.
Democracy and decency. And it was a terrible night for everyone who voted against him. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
See, you just don't realize. You're not smart enough. Jimmy Kimmel actually is much smarter than you. And although it was more than half the country, because we won the popular vote, we won the popular vote. There are more of us than you. Have you seen the red and blue maps that have been? I mean, this is red country. Okay, you guys in your progressive hellholes on the sides, y'all can stay there. This is red country. Okay, and so Jimmy Kimmel says, you just don't know. Okay, you're just not smart enough. But what you don't realize is that it's actually a loss for you as well, because Jimmy Kimmel, blowhard on late night, I'm going to tell you that it's a loss for journalism. No. It's a loss for free speech. No, quite the opposite. Mm-hmm. It's a loss for healthcare. Well, I'm sorry. Hold on. Do you mean allowing women to kill their babies? Because that's not healthcare. Why don't you ask the baby if that's healthcare? A loss for all of these things that it's for women. I'm like, actually, I'm a woman and you don't need to speak for me. I'm elated.
Well, they can't even identify what a woman is. Right. So,
until they want to use it as a talking point, and then they remember.
And this is the cognitive dissonance that we're seeing from them. And here's the greatest thing. Let me tell you, as you know, I was cancelled from Hollywood. Here's the thing. Hollywood has been cancelled. Like, nobody wants them anymore. It's going to die. Mm-hmm. And I'm right here for... Hold on. I'm right here for it.
Liberal tears taste so good. You would think that they taste salty, but they don't.
No, they don't.
They
taste
really
sweet.
Yeah, they taste really sweet. So as we're talking about how this was this was a total mandate. We won all of it. We won the popular vote. We won the Electoral College. We won everything. These people who want to tell you that they're smarter than you at the same time are like, you know what? we need to get rid of the Electoral College. Let's watch Rosie O'Donnell.
Yourself, call your friends, check on them. And
I'm
get
sorry,
ready
this is Mark
because
Cuban, I think.
we're in for one hell
No,
of
it's
a
Keith
ride
Olbermann.
with him at the helm.
Chris Hayes?
And
What,
no
they all
immunity
look the same.
guardrails.
Rachel Maddow?
Okay.
Megan Rapinoe.
Okay. God bless America, people. That's all I can say. We're going to
She
need
looks
it.
like a demented
How about
panda.
We get rid of the Electoral College?
Wait, what?
Does that... Anybody like that?
But he,
Anyone? I'm not so sure anymore.
Oh, okay.
what would that
It's
do?
a popular vote. That's what we need to do.
Right on.
Who gets the most votes wins.
That's what
One
happened.
vote, one
Okay.
person.
One vote, one
No
person.
racist math in the equation.
No racist math in the equation. I'm not sure what racist math.
What is racist math?
I don't know because he quite literally very handily won the popular vote. And Rosie O'Donnell says, you know what would fix this? Getting rid of the
You know, it is funny. It's kind of like when you like try and engage them on anything.
Yeah.
This is what they do. It's like, well, we need to get rid of the Electoral College, and just we need the popular vote. He won the popular vote. Something seriously wrong. What happened with 20 million votes? Well, we actually told you that you didn't get that last time.
Yeah.
Hater. I mean, that's what they're like. They're just, there's something wrong. I mean, they're serious. Like, you have to ask yourself, Sarah, like, do they really believe this? I mean, do they really believe it? Or are they just crazy? Because here's the thing. I don't think there's any healing with those people. I don't. So I don't know where we go. And by the way, I've been looking. I have been trying to check all the private jets that are going to Canada.
They're not there.
They're not there. They haven't gone.
I mean, I honestly am to the point where I'm good with starting a GoFundMe or something like that, Give, Send, Go, to like fund their one-way ticket, as long as they sign a promise that they will never come back.
The Canadians don't want it. Have you seen it? They're like, don't send them here.
No.
No. We don't want that.
I didn't see that.
Yeah. A lot of Canadians were like, stop pushing them onto us. We don't want them.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so here's another one that I would be happy to fundraise a one-way ticket for. Sunny Hostin on The View, who we played a couple clips from them yesterday, but she just right out the gate, they all wore black. It was a time of mourning for them over on The View. And she was incredibly clear who she places blame on for this just stunning defeat in her eyes. Watch.
Well, I want to dig further into the demographics because black women tried to save this country again last night. 92% of black women voted for the vice president. You have Latinas in the 70 percentile voting for the vice president. Okay. What we did not have is white women who voted about 52%, right?
Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. Give me a shout out.
Uneducated white women, she says.
You have
Uneducated
Latino
white
men
women. Okay.
actually voting
Latino
more
men.
for him. And you have, and black men was not the story. We're not the story here because they voted almost 80% for the vice president.
Right.
So why do you think that uneducated white women voted against their reproductive health freedoms? And why do you think Latino men voted in favor of someone that's going to deport, says he's going to deport the majority of his community?
White women like being called uneducated white women. I think the economy matters, national security matters. But when you put people in these boxes, I think that's a takeaway from this race.
We have to look at the demographics of it.
So here's the thing. I am advocating for them to just drop the uneducated bit and just you want to call it didn't go to higher education or unschooled or whatever. If they're not uneducated because they didn't go to college and they stay at home or they have some working class job and they want to protect their kids that exist in this world right now. They want to be able to feed their families. You don't need to call them uneducated. They seem to be very educated on what the best choice is for them to make sure that their families are safe because that's what they chose on Tuesday.
Well, look, you don't have to call them uneducated. What you do is you call the college-educated people indoctrinated, right? So there's the indoctrinated and there's the
unindoctrinated
group, right?
I love that.
And that's the truth.
That's
because you know what? If you did basket weaving like at college, it doesn't make you more. And look, this is somebody who went and I did a BA in performing arts, right? So that's comfort. but they are so condescending. And by the way, I'm going to ask you this, Sarah. Can I have a few questions?
Sure.
Okay. Well, what college degree does Mark Zuckerberg have?
I don't know.
He doesn't have one.
He dropped out.
He dropped out. What college degree did Bill Gates get?
None.
He didn't have one, right? Because he dropped out. Can anyone tell me what what degree Steve Jobs had?
I'm going to guess none.
He didn't have one either. And what about Elon Musk?
I'm also going to say
I
none.
think he dropped out as well. So you're telling me that the biggest entrepreneurs on the planet, right, are uneducated? Really?
Isn't it interesting, too, how they use this whenever they want to, but they then sometimes, like you had Tim Walz, who was like, I don't have any students who ever graduated from Harvard, as like a slam against Ivy League schools. And then all of a sudden, when the votes don't go their way, they're like, oh, it was only those uneducated people who didn't go to Ivy League schools. It's like, pick a lane.
And also, by the way, what was the opportunity that those people had to go to college, right?
Yeah.
So is that because of their white privilege that they got handed out a bunch of money they could go to college?
Right.
Again, they don't think things through because they're very, very stupid. You are a moron. You are moronical. That's what you are, a moron. They don't think things through, though, and they hate you.
Yeah,
they
that
hate
is for
the
sure.
people. By the way, Sarah, the white moms and the Latino moms and the black moms and the working class are the ones that built this country. They are the great people in this country. Mm-hmm. That's what they are. And they hate them. And you'll see it when, I'll tell you this, next election, when black guys start voting more because like, hang on a second, Trump's doing more for me. All of a sudden, they'll be thrown under the bus as well. Right? All it is you are useful to them.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
They don't care about you.
Yeah.
They don't care about me. It's all about power and it's all about leverage. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember sitting across over there during I believe it was the VP debate coverage, and we were talking about the issue of abortion because anytime anyone talks about women's votes, the conversation seems to turn into abortion. And I tried to say, because this was about Taylor Swift in particular, and I tried to say, guys, I understand even the, close to 40-year-old women who are Taylor Swift. Well, I don't want to say I understand that because it's a little weird in my opinion, but I'm saying I understand that those women exist, right? But if they are moms and also Taylor Swift fans, it doesn't move the needle, in my opinion. It does not move the needle for a mom to be lectured to by Taylor Swift about how they need to vote for Kamala Harris for abortion rights. Like, I'm like, maybe in an economy that is solid and strong, maybe in a country where all of their, everything was going great, but not in a country where they've just let in 10 to 20 million, pick your estimate, 10 to 20 million unvetted strangers. We know that there are terrorists in the country. They can't afford their groceries. Like, not in a time where they literally are just trying to keep their kids fed and safe. And I tried to argue that point. I'm like, I just don't know how much abortion is going to factor into their vote. And I seemed to be in the minority there of saying, like, I just don't think that you can just discount a woman voter just because the issue of abortion is on the table. I think that the moms are going to come out and I think they're going to say, no way in hell you guys are doing this to my kids for 4 more years. And they did.
Well, the other thing is the way that you couch the question, right? Because what a lot of people do is they'll say it's abortion. The real question is, do you want your daughters to sleep with 40 or 50 men? Like, do you want them to do that?
Do you want men to use them for that?
That's what I'm saying, right? And moms go, well, no. I had this conversation recently. I'm like, whatever. Again, it's like, I'll eat whatever you want to give me, but give my kids organic, right? Like, you want what's best for them. So, like, what is an ideal? Is an ideal that your daughter doesn't have sex before marriage? She meets someone, she falls in love with them, and they get married, which, again, is the greatest indicator of prosperity, right? Like, being in a functional marriage, young. Is that an ideal? Yes, it is.
Right.
Right. And we can know that whether or not we've been in that situation.
Right.
We can still say that's an ideal. Doesn't always work out like that. But again, advocating for like, you know, it's like those weirdos that like, I'm going to go to the bus in the parking lot and get in the bush. And in fact, I'm going to go and get pregnant so I can go and get an abortion. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you're clearly not thinking straight. So for a mom, you want an ideal, right? That's what you want. And in the same way as a dad, do you want your son to go and be with a whore?
Right.
No, you don't.
Who's just gonna kill his child?
You don't want that. So unless you are like indoctrinated, you've got to look and say, well, this isn't the number one issue for me.
Right.
It's not. It's like you say, you can't just discount women because it's all about abortion. There's so many other things that are important.
And you know what else? I want to, we've got more to get into for this. I know we got to take a break here in a second, but I also want to point out that I am so proud of women that they didn't fall into the lies, because there were a lot of lies surrounding abortion that the left told. They tried to make you think that if you needed life-saving care, you would not be able to get it in the states that have abortion laws. They tried to make you think that if you had an ectopic pregnancy, that they would not get treated. They tried to make women think all sorts of things to scare them into thinking, this isn't about abortion. This is literally about if I got pregnant and had a complication, I could die because I would go untreated, which is just absolutely so far from the truth. Yeah. Every single state that has an abortion law has protections for life-saving care of the mother. Every single one of them. And if anyone is confused about the law's language, it is people like Sunny Hostin and Rosie O'Donnell and all of these blowhards who want to tell women that their life is in danger. It's not. So if women are concerned and confused about that, it's because of the left's rhetoric, not because of the actual law. So I'm so overwhelmingly proud of white women, if that's what you want to go, white women. You know what? It sounds to me like white women just help save the country. And I am really, really proud of them for that. All right, we've got more blame shifting to get into after the break. But first, we want to thank our sponsor, Raycon. So Raycon, I love my Raycons. And by the way, I have several different pairs because people in my family keep stealing them, including you, Stephen.
What?
Including you, Stephen.
I have my own now that we're definitely...
That's my point!
Exactly, because I have my own now.
I have my own now. Because everyone in my family kept stealing my black Raycons. Stephen, which color are your Raycons?
I don't want to hear this disinformation come.
Fake news.
I used to have black Raycons, and then they went to my husband. My son steals them, my older son. My younger son is not allowed to have them. So now I have a pink pair because none of the males in my house want to steal my pink pair. And that's how I make sure that I can keep my Raycons, which they're, you know, they've got the over the ear ones, but I have the ones that go all the way in your ear. They're great because they don't have, I think they have a stem option, but mine, I just put all the way in my ear. I don't like the stems. I think it's like, why get a stem when you can just put it all the way in your ear? But they've got whatever you need. And they've got these customizable gel tips. So you make sure that it is a perfect fit in your ear. Okay. And they've also got, sales for Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up. They're doubling down on their amazing value by offering my viewers up to 30% site-wide. So listen, you can appreciate this right now. Go check them out. 32-hour battery life, multi-point connectivity, very, very easy. And the quality is crystal clear. I put it up against any premium audio company. Okay. Go to their website for 30% off. You can go to buyraycon.com/Sara Unfiltered. You get up to 30% off site-wide. Go right after this program. Go on over to buyraycon.com/Sara Unfiltered. Well, Matt, we're not done blaming white women. We're not done blaming white women, who we know are the real misogynists, apparently, or something like that. Let's listen to Joy Reid on election night. Watch.
Black voters came through for Kamala Harris. White women voters did not. That is what it appears happened in that state, is that if you can't flip enough white women, and we've talked about this on this set numerous times, is that you have a state where you've got a 6-week abortion or a 12-week abortion. I think theirs might be 12 weeks. But it's a state where women lost their reproductive rights, where there was a very heavy push to get women to focus on not putting in place, re-electing, putting back into the White House the person who was responsible for taking those rights away and restoring them. But that message obviously was not enough to get enough white women to vote for Vice President Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy.
Change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. I mean, if that isn't just so damning on, excuse me, but I'm going to say it, on the way that Black women vote, I don't know what else to tell you. She's like, oh, well, Black women voted for her. It's just the white women. Yeah, Black women voted for a dumbass because you guys told them, and I guess they just believe that they need to vote based off of race and gender.
Yeah, somebody that looks like them.
Right, which is the worst way that you can make a decision about who you want leading the country. And what you're saying, Joy, is that Black women actually bought into this dumb lie rather than picking the most qualified person for the position. I mean, that's what I'm hearing from you is like, white women saved us. Black women still need some work to get deprogrammed from all of the brainwashing that they've had, thinking that they should be picking someone because they look like them.
You know, it would be really interesting to see what actual shows that they watch. Like what the demographic is of like The View and what the demographic is of MSNBC, because this is the point that I was going to make in the break. Firstly, all right, Elon Musk has 2 degrees.
You got that one
Fake news from Marsden.
It was fake news.
Right, but all the other ones were right, so it doesn't matter. But here's the thing. If you are looking at the voting demographic, right, you have to look and say, well, where are they getting their information from?
Right.
Okay. And I think that if we did not have X, if Elon Musk had not, there are 2 things to me that really changed things in this election. Number one was X and the fact that
1,000,000%.
I mean, it is the number 1 news site around the world.
If Elon Musk does not buy X, I don't know that we can say Donald Trump wins.
We wouldn't have, because the thing is that we could immediately get the stuff that was suppressed last time is immediately going out to the world.
Yes.
So they can't go, oh, no, it never happened, or Facebook can't kill it, right?
Well, they can, but you're going to get it on X anyway.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Yeah, they can still kill it, but it's still going to get out there. Right. Where they had a concerted effort before to shut everything down, then that was gone. So the first thing is Elon Musk buying X basically saved Western civilization. That is not it's not hyperbole, right? Because I genuinely do think that this was going to be the last election America would have had if it free election, right? So I think that's really important. Him and Scott Pressler, who went out and worked his ass off. I think those 2 things together really saved us. I mean, they really put the work in. And, you know, Harmeet Dillon go out. I think we're going to see more and more examples of them trying to be fraudulent and then it being shut down. So you got to give it to the Trump campaign. They killed it in the last 2 months. They absolutely killed it. But this is why the culture is important. This is why you guys subscribing to The Blaze is really, really important, because now, like I said, Hollywood is over. It's done. The mainstream media, The View, it's done. It's done. And if they want to just go for the Black women, they're out there. That's okay. You can go and do that. But eventually, other things are going to become important, Sarah. Like you said before, like, hang on a second. I'm going to go and I'm going to buy some eggs. Hang on. Last week, I could buy eggs and milk. Now I can only afford the eggs. And then all of a sudden, people start looking when they're in that situation.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, because Joe Scarborough over on Morning Joe on MSNBC, they were having a conversation about kind of trying to figure out why voters chose what they chose. And Joe Scarborough, up in his, you know, in his ivory tower, up in his elitist little bubble, was like shocked to hear how much butter costs. Speaking of what you're talking about, watch.
3 weeks ago, somebody who was going to be voting for Kamala Harris came up to me and said, "Oh my God, Trump's going to win." I go, "Why is that?" He goes, I went to the grocery store. Butter's over $3. I kind of laughed and I said, well, that's kind of reductive, isn't it? Said it to myself. To him, I smiled and I said, good point. But it actually, everything we're hearing after the election is,
I'm just saying, the $7.
What's that?
The $7.
What's that? Butter is $7?
Yeah.
What? Is it framed in gold?
Exactly.
Anyway,
exactly.
Okay, well, yeah, okay. Anyway,
Okay, well,
my point is this, Willie.
But anyway, my point.
The rent is too damn high, and this guy was saying the cost of butter is way damn too high.
He didn't even know. He didn't even know. These are the people lecturing to you. He didn't even know how high the cost of goods are. He didn't even know. What is it, framed in gold? Yeah, that's why we just vote. Well, one of many reasons we just voted the way that we did, and he just had no idea.
I mean, that is just absolutely perfect, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
He's probably got a bunch of maids. He probably doesn't cook.
Sure.
He probably sends people out to do his shopping. Yep. He probably never has to look or worry about any amount of money that's going out of his account.
Mm-hmm.
So how can it be personal to him? We've said, how many times we've said this over and over again, that it has to be personal for you before you start making a difference, right? We saw it with Martha's Vineyard. Let all the illegals in. Not in my town. Whoa.
Well, I gave him some Fruit Loops before I sent them on their way, so I'm a good person.
And now they go, well, we can't afford the Fruit Loops, right? So, this is the problem is all these elites are lecturing us. Mm-hmm. And oddly enough, we have a billionaire that understands the plight of the working class.
Right.
And he doesn't even say, what is it, like wrapped in gold? Dude, that's exactly the point. Yeah. Like, do you understand for someone who's making $150 a week, what a $7 stick of butter or what that means to them?
No, he doesn't actually. He also, it's interesting. We've got some of them blaming white women, but hold on, not so fast. It's not just white women, okay? It's actually another demographic that they're going to blame over back on MSNBC's Morning Joe. Watch.
I just say really quickly, too. Democrats need to be mature, and they need to be honest. And they need to say, yes, there's misogyny. But it's not just misogyny from white men. Mm-hmm. It's misogyny from Hispanic men.
Right.
It's misogyny from black men. Things we've all been talking about, who do not want a woman leading them. It might be race issues with Hispanics. They don't want a black woman as president of the United States. You know, the Democratic Party, I've always found when you're sitting around talking, they love to just sort of balkanize everybody into these separate groups and say, white people don't like women and black people. No, it is time for the Democrats to say, okay, and you and I have talked about this before, a lot of Hispanic voters have problems with black candidates.
My God.
Along with other Hispanics. You've got some that don't like each other.
Believe he just said that.
And some of the most misogynist things I've heard going on this Get Out the Vote tour came from black men. I mean, misogynist things. So you're absolutely right. It's not simplistic. And we've got to have real honest conversations about it.
Real honest conversations.
I mean, I don't hate it.
No, I mean, I'm right here for it.
Keep fighting, keep blaming each other. You want to blame white women, you want to blame black men, Latino men, keep blaming them. Keep calling them misogynistic because they didn't want a retard in the White House.
You know what's funny? By
the way, her genitalia and the fact that she's a woman has literally nothing to do with the fact that she is one of the dumbest people on the planet. Nothing to do with it.
Here's the thing. I'm going to ask the people out there this. If Tulsi Gabbard was running on the ticket for the Democrats, would that be the same? No, not at all, because it's got nothing to do with that. She is smart. That's why she's not over there with them anymore. Right. She loves her country. That's why she's not over there with them anymore. But here's the thing. The irony for me is like, I'm sitting watching that clip because I just saw it for the first time. And he's like, we need to be, what was it he said? Mature now or like something like that. And then just comes out with all this completely immature ridiculousness. Yeah. That's the funny. He really truly thinks that's.
Yeah, he's like, well, we can't put people into different categories. And it's like, but
white men
just did,
black
bro.
men, Latino men. Wait a minute. I'm like,
well, other than that, we can't put anyone in.
They are just ridiculous. I love it. I love it, to be honest, because here's the thing. We know this, Sarah. We've never cared about that. And I'm just saying, the country that I was born in had a female prime minister 40 years ago, right? And then they had a couple of others that, you know, but even now, Kemi Badenoch, who is the lead minister for the opposition now, is a black female. And everyone's like, who's a black female? I'm like, who cares if she's a black female?
Right.
Is she any good?
Right.
Like, I don't care.
Right.
Like I said, I think we would have been in a lot of trouble if they would have put Tulsi Gabbard as the nominee.
Well, she's a far right wing nut job according to them.
Well, no,
so they couldn't do that. So there were I will say I don't have time to go through them all, but there were some some like a DNC cabinet member or chair member said, well, she probably shouldn't have picked Tim Walz as her VP pick. That was probably not a good pick. You think? I saw a montage of someone posted it on X. They were like, gosh, I have no idea why Tim Walz didn't resonate with black men. And it was like, Tim Walz was like, hello. For like a minute straight. It's like, I have no idea why he wasn't relatable to men.
White women, by the way.
Right,
like, you want a masculine dude there.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
why they love Trump, because he's a alpha male. And
Right.
J.D. Vance, by the way.
Right.
And by the way, they don't talk about the fact that Trump has an immigrant wife and J.D. Vance is married to an Indian woman, right? Like, all that's like, these aren't the droids you're looking for.
Right. Okay, I do want to play, I know we got to go to break, Stephen, but I do want to play this Dr. Arlene, who is a self-proclaimed political analyst. This was pre-election. She was going to the grocery store to buy champagne to pop that night. And this is her story about taunting what she presumed was a Trump voter about how Kamala was going to win. Watch.
Okay, so we're closing in on almost 5 p.m. Eastern time, and I've been tracking everything that's been going on across the country today. And my most important encounter was when I went out to get my champagne. I was talking to the guy in the store, of course, asking him, did he vote? And he said he did early voting, and he asked me if I early voted. And he asked me, why I was getting the champagne. And I said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he just looked at me with kind of like a smirk on his face. And I said, she's going to win this, right? And he says, oh, well, it's very, very close. And I said, no, it's not. He says, well, what do you mean? I said, no, it's not. The women of America are making their voices heard.
We sure did.
Reproductive rights is what it all comes down to. And the women are voting in numbers relative to men that are unbelievable. She's won this. And I said to him, she's going to take every one of the swing states plus Iowa. And he said, oh, but the numbers are so close. I said, I'm a political analyst. I'm telling you right now, the numbers are there. She's taking this election.
Argument from authority.
I said to him, you realize, and he didn't tell me who he voted for, but of course I knew. And I said, you do realize you wasted your vote, right? And I didn't care. And I walked out with my bottle of champagne and happily walked home. Bye-bye.
Well, actually, after the election, she followed up her taunts by sharing this. It was never about them. She shared this post. It was never about them or their supreme qualifications. It was about misogyny, racism, and fascism. That one's for you, Dr. Arlene. Dr. Arlene, what'd you get your doctorate in? Being fucking wrong? All right, we got to go to break. I want to thank our sponsor. It's like people are like, we got to unify. We got to work together. I'm like, no, you know what? These people called me Nazi. They called me fascist. They said I deserved to be in camps because I didn't want to get vaccinated. They called me, and you. Yep. All sorts of names. No, we should never forget what they did. And if they want to come to our end of the table and they want to work with us, great, so be it. But I'm not going to sit here and try to, pat their back because they're really, really sad that what they call a racist, misogynist, mean man won. No. I hope you guys I hope you cry for weeks upon end. I hope you are so unsettled that you leave this country. I don't want you here. Just saying.
I know, but let me just say this. Here's the sad thing about this situation is they are still going to benefit from a Donald Trump presidency.
It's so funny because Steve Deace was on my show yesterday and he was like, well, just because you were so horrible to us, let me tell you what we're going to do to you. We're still going to let you benefit from lower taxes. We're still going to allow you to prosper in this economy. You know what? We're going to let you, take part in all of this, all of the positives. We're bringing our country back. We're still going to let you live in a safer country, okay? We're going to let you do that. So it's to what you're saying.
It's true, though. It's true. But it doesn't work the other way.
No.
That's the funny thing. If they got in, it wouldn't have worked like that. Well, the only thing that would have worked like that is everybody would have been sucked down in it. They just don't understand.
Well, like we are now. It just would have gotten worse. All right, we've got to go to break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Preborn. So I love working with Preborn. We're talking about abortion and whether or not, there was a referendum on abortion election night. Well, let me tell you, women, I think moms in this country are finally like, you know what? We've had it. You're not going to keep trying to use us, manipulate us for your vote on killing our own children. And that is so, so great to see. But there's still a lot more work to be done. And what Preborn is doing is they are offering these young expectant mothers. They're scared. They've been sold lies by the left. It's only a clump of cells, And if they go into a Planned Parenthood, they are walking into just this evil, demonic realm where they are telling them all of these lies. They're trying to convince them to end the life of their child. With Preborn's network of ministry and clinics, they're actually walking in there and they're just going to be shown the truth. It's really that simple. They're going to be shown an ultrasound of their baby inside of them, and they're going to hear their baby's heartbeat. And those of you who are parents, that is a life-changing moment whenever you hear your baby's heartbeat for the first time. Matt's heard it like a million times because he has
a million times,
a million kids. So, but like in that moment, you're like, holy crap, this is mine. This is my kid. And more than likely, that woman is going to choose life for their baby. $28 is the cost of an ultrasound. How many ultrasounds can you help us get? Of course, that's life and death. The difference between life and death lies within that $28. So go to preborn.com/Sarah. Donate securely over at preborn.com/Sarah. So, there's a lot of foreign conflict going on right now. Not sure if you're aware.
I wasn't aware of that at all.
Until this very moment, right?
Until right now.
Yeah. So there's Israel and, Iran, but Gaza fighting this proxy war with Hamas. And, there were some times where Donald Trump was like, give me 24 hours, 48 hours, I'll end the war. And everyone was like, well, the left was like, no, he won't. That can't happen. That's not how it works. Well, within 24 hours of Donald Trump literally just winning the election, a senior Hamas official is already calling for an end. An immediate end to their war after Donald Trump's election win. Israel's chief of staff also released a statement calling for the end of the war and the release of the hostages. And so you've got...
So great.
He's not even in office yet.
He's not so great.
He's not even in office yet. And they're like, oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
We actually have a strong leader who's not halfway dead, who we're not really sure. Because remember, part of Trump's charm when it comes to foreign policy is that none of these leaders are like totally sure what he'll do.
Which is that
it's great.
What? It is the best. I remember if you go back like just a few years ago, people would go like, "Hey, do not mess with Putin because you do not know what he's going to do." And then Trump comes along and he goes, "Little rocket man," and they're like, "What is this? Like which? I might bomb you. I might not bomb you." And they're like, "This guy's out of his mind. Like he might do it." And so they all panic. And this is just amazing.
Good. It's so good. It's so good. Well, Hamas said that they were concerned with what they called Trump's blind support of Israel. That's what they say. It was just blind support. But that's fine. That's fine. I don't really care what their reasoning is. The point is they had a weak leader within Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, by the way. They had weak leadership with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and they knew that nothing so bad would happen to them at the hands of the United States. With Donald Trump, who was the president, let me remind everyone, who moved the embassy to Jerusalem, okay? All of these other Republican presidents, and maybe some Democrats too, campaigned on it, never did it. Donald Trump did it. And Hamas is like, oh God, he's too nice to Israel. We can't do it.
Can I say this? Because somebody else got a Nobel Peace Prize, didn't they, for doing absolutely nothing? I think he should get the Nobel Peace Prize.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, he should get the Nobel Peace Prize because he's not even in office and he's sorted that out. And by the way, why hasn't the squad come out and said this is amazing? Why aren't people going through the streets cheering that the peacemaker is there? Because all they said was, just stop the killing of the innocent. Right. Okay, well, he's just done it.
Yeah.
All right. So I expect every leader around the world to come and praise Donald Trump, and he should get the Nobel Peace Prize. Done.
He certainly has done more than his predecessor, who received the Nobel Peace Prize.
He did more than his predecessor, and he's not even in office.
Not even in office yet. He's not. Now, by the way, but when he was in office, he did bring more peace to the Middle East than anyone before with the Abraham Accords.
He did.
I mean, he did that. So it's just fascinating to see. I also saw that Xi Jinping over in China also came out and now, right after the election, is saying he wants to strengthen relations with the United States.
Of course he did. They're all like, oh shit, like somebody competence here. It's kind of like, you know, when your kids, you know, you go out and your kids like wreck the room. And then they're like, Dad's coming home. And they're like, shit. And they're like, oh, tidy up, put everything away. Blah, blah, blah. You know, they're lifting up the couch. They're shoving shit under there like that. They're like, no. Everything's fine. Everything's good.
Hi, Dad.
Hi.
Yeah, that's
great.
I know. That's what this is. And so, you know, the people who literally lived through a Donald Trump presidency, he didn't, you know, they're like, this guy's going to have the nuclear codes. Nothing bad happened. We had, until COVID, everything in the economy was stable and growing and thriving. You know, China was not meeting with us in Alaska, telling us that we are beneath them, which happened under Joe Biden. China wasn't threatening invading Taiwan. You didn't have Russia and Ukraine. You didn't have Vladimir Putin saying, I'm going to just go in. You did have that under Donald Trump's predecessor, by the way, the man who won the Nobel Peace Prize, to Matt's point. He did invade Crimea under Barack Obama. Then he didn't do shit the entire time Donald Trump was in office. Then he invaded Ukraine. So it's just interesting to see how all of this has happened. For all the left wanted to say about, oh my God, he's going to start World War III. No, actually, the risk of World War III was under you guys. And Donald Trump is the one now who, before he's even in office, is coming in and stopping it. So you're welcome. You're welcome. He will get no thanks from them. But I'm just going to go ahead and say you're welcome. All right, we've got to thank our sponsor here, Relief Factor. So those of you who live in constant pain, maybe you think this is your life now. I love Relief Factor. I use it. Matt has used it.
I haven't done it for this. I need to do it. No.
Do you need more?
I do.
Okay, I got you covered. Okay, I'm going to get you covered. So, but when you've used it.
No, that's why I'm like, I'm a dummy, because last time I used it, it did sort my back out.
Yeah, you are kind of a dummy.
I'm a bit of a dummy, but I'm an awesome dummy.
Hey, Steven, say what you just said to me in my ear.
You just do a drug deal?
We did just do a drug deal.
Oh, that's awesome.
No, we didn't really, because it's not drugs. It's drug-free, Steven. But we kind of did a drug deal. So it's an all-natural anti-inflammatory.
Are you my pusher?
I am. I'm going to go in the parking lot, and I'm going to be really
You want some?
in a paper bag. Paper bag, and I'm going to hand it to you through your car windows just to make it really weird. So no, it really is. It's drug-free. It's an all-natural anti-inflammatory, and it targets the inflammation in your body, which is typically the root cause of your pain. So whatever pain it is, it's back pain, neck pain, elbow pain, knee pain, whatever it is, it's the inflammation. So let Relief Factor help you. 70% of the people who order that go on to keep ordering more. That's how many people it's working for. So the odds are in your favor. It's going to work for you, just like it's worked for me, just like it's worked for Matt. So go to relieffactor.com, get their three-week quick start. It's $19.95. All right. They've got a guarantee. You've got nothing to lose except your pain. Relieffactor.com. So let's go over, as we talked about before, we've got a total mandate. We've got total control. We control you, bitches. Just kidding.
But not
sort
really.
of. Sort of.
Not really.
No, but my point is, Donald Trump, it's like the floor is yours, right? You gave all of these promises to the American people. You have no excuse not to do it because you have Republicans now we're all there. House, Senate, you've got a Supreme Court majority. So what are we going to do? Okay. Mass deportations, tax cuts, deregulation, We've got judicial appointments that you should be able to just get anyone in because we've got control of the chambers. And then 2 potential Supreme Court nominees. So I'm just saying I don't want Clarence Thomas or Samuel Alito to retire. But the fact of the matter is they're getting up there in age.
Yeah, they probably should, actually.
I think they should. I think that they should. But that then becomes, it's so critical for Donald Trump to choose, especially with Clarence Thomas. I mean, they're so close in like their conservatism, but you got to get someone who's not going to be a Brett freaking Kavanaugh.
Yeah, he's been a disappointment, hasn't he?
Honestly, all 3 of them, I'm so glad that they did what they did with Dobbs, but all 3 of them have been squishy in certain areas where I've been like, I expected more from you. So he has the opportunity now, potentially, to pick 2 Supreme Court justices. And so when you're looking at all the ways that we could change the landscape of this country, it's just been really interesting because now you have Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who is like, just please be bipartisan. All of a sudden, right? The people who wanted to jam everything down your throat, who wanted to call you a Nazi and a fascist and all these things. Now he says, as we await the final tallies in the elections across our country, this was November 5th, Senate Democrats remain committed to our values and to working with our Republican colleagues to deliver for the American people. As I've said time and time again, in both the majority and the minority, the only way to get things done in the Senate is through bipartisan legislation while maintaining our principles. And the next 2 years are no different. So Chuck Schumer wants you to know that he just wants you guys to be bipartisan. No.
No.
No. No. No.
No.
No. You can come to us because guess what? This wasn't just the Electoral College. This was a popular vote. The majority of Americans believe in what we sold to them, not you. So you can come to the table for your constituents, not the other way around.
They are terrified. They want power, but they're also terrified of it. And now what you're seeing is mass panic. And this happens with weak people, right? You saw it. I hate to say it like this. You saw it with the Nazis, right? So the Nazis had this mandate where they said, you want to go out there, you want to take over that house, you want to do this, you go do it with a master race, go do it. But when they started getting killed by the Allies, they were like, hey, hang on a second, hang on, human rights, like blah, blah, blah. No, it does, not that I'm equating the Senate with the Nazis, but what I'm trying to say is when you come to a struggle of power and people that all they understand is power, you have to utilize it, right, on your side for good, because they are nefarious people that have been using it for bad. So I think that there's absolutely no quarter, and we need, because obviously, thank God, Mitch McConnell's going, couldn't stand him, and we need a really great.
Don't put in John Cornyn.
No.
Don't put in John Cornyn. No. Rand Paul, Mike Lee.
Mike Lee, man.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Rick Scott, maybe, but no. John Cornyn, big no.